Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. So, as you have noticed, our days have been getting shorter and it's dark, and guess what? It is November already. I can't even believe we are in November. But that also means that the holidays are coming up. Christmas is coming up, Hanukkah is coming up, whatever else you celebrate, I would love to celebrate it with you. And today we are making the very festive snowflakes. And in fact, I feel very festive right now, surrounded by all of my sparkly snowflakes. So what I'm doing today are going to be, so these are my new ones, right? So these 5 colors, I don't know if I can fit them all on my hand. So maybe it's a 2-hand show and tell. So this is what we just listed in our Etsy shop today. These are my new designs for this year. My new little snowflakes, and they're vibrant and fun. And whether your color scheme includes gold or silver or maybe both, I think I have something for everyone. I also have a few snowflakes from before, some of my classics that we have been restocking, and these are definitely some of the favorites, especially the double snowflakes. So it's a really fun, very quick and easy project, you guys, as you probably already know. But you know, every year I figure out a fun little trick, a new little something or other that I can share with you to make this just a little bit easier, because I always hear from people, oh, I always break my beads, or I don't know how to lay it all out if I don't want to commit to it right away. So I do have some really fun new tips for you this year. And I'm pretty excited about these new colors. So I hope you guys are also.
Trudy says, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Trudy, and thank you for joining me.
Kim K says, happy Thursday.
Hi, Kim. Happy Thursday to you, my friends.
Fonda says, good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Fonda. Happy Thursday. I'm so glad you're watching.
Allie says, beautiful.
Thank you so much, Allie.
Ellen says, hi, Irina and everyone.
Hi, Ellen.
And Karen says, good evening, everyone. It's cool here in Maryland and the leaves are changing.
Oh, you know what? I was just pointing out to Tony how my beautiful maple right outside of my office, it was so gorgeous a week ago. It was on fire. It was yellow and orange and red, and it was so vibrant. And it is standing completely bare today. I know it's a change of seasons. I've seen this before, but it still is making me so sad. I don't think I'm ready for it. So I'm just a little bit jealous of your changing colors. Okay, ladies, so what do you think about my blizzard of bling? Isn't this super fun? I hope you're loving the colors I'm using this year. Okay, guys, so let's get started, shall we? I know we have all made snowflakes, but there are some very tiny little nuances that make this that much better and just a little bit more fun. So we are actually going to explore those nuances. Okay, so normally every year, what I do is I remind you, and I will obviously do it this year as well. So please remember, this is very, very tough memory wire. And when it comes to memory wire, we never ever want to use our good cutters that we use for everything. In fact, if you can avoid it at all, and it's frankly, it's very easy to avoid it. What I'm talking about is cutting this wire. So just, try to not have to cut it at all. It comes in different sizes. The size I'm using today is 4.5 inches. That's 4.5 inches across. And when you use a snowflake, that's about 4.5 inches across. The end result, once we have made our loops, we're going to have a snowflake that is about 4 inches across. So that makes sense. You're always going to lose roughly half an inch. But it's always best to not have to cut it at all.
Debbie says, hey, everyone.
Hi, Debbie, and thank you so much for joining us.
Allie says, love that title, Blizzard of Bling.
Oh, thank you so much. Maybe that's what I should have called the snowflakes. Maybe that's going to be the name for a different project. Who knows? So, but thank you so much for liking it. All right, ladies. So let's get started. So remember, if we must use a cutter on this, it really, really, really needs to be a memory wire cutter, which we do have in the Etsy shop. But still, if you can avoid cutting this memory wire, let's just try to do that. And the only reason I am actually mentioning this is because sometimes you're not working with my kit and you're working with your own beads. Perhaps you are designing something a little different and you feel like you have to cut it. Although, I always prefer to just have enough beads to finish the arms. So I am actually starting to string. And let me point out, because all beads kind of meet right in the center of the snowflake, and we want them to be able to lay as close to that center as we possibly can. So for that reason, I'm going to be doing something just a tiny, tiny bit different on every other arm. So I'm starting out with the 3 arms with a little seed bead. This is one of those hollow seed beads that I use in so many different things. And this is one of those times where it just works so well. Just so you know, you probably are not able to use a regular seed bead on something like this because it simply does not have a large enough hole, unless you have some kind of magical seed beads that have extra large holes. So I have just pre-strung my first arm. So this is what I'm going to point out. Normally, when I create these snowflakes, I just simply bend the wire as I go with my flat nose pliers. However, sometimes you are not quite sure if you're going to like the end result. So I'm going to do something just a little bit different this time. And what I'm going to do is use these backs. So these are made out of silicone, and they are for earring backs. You know, those silicone earring backs that one uses on the back of a post, right? So I'm using that. So let's say you just want to pre-string the whole thing experimentally. You can use our little silicone earring backs and then see how you like it. And then you can change. It's like, if you just don't want to commit immediately to a specific design. So I'm just going to be using that silicone earring back. Well, maybe I'll just use it just on a couple of arms, because really we are committing to a specific design, because we actually know this time what it's going to look like. It's going to look something like this, except of course this is Caribbean gold and I am working on a red gold snowflake. And so here's our second arm. So I'm just showing you how well this works. You can pre-string the entire thing, and then you can decide whether you like it or not. Actually, maybe I will just do it that way. Okay, guys, so I'm going to make my third arm, and obviously I'm using too many. So I'm using my little tiny seed bead that goes on first. Then I'm using a 4mm bicone, and this is actually not Swarovski, this is Preciosa. I am switching to Preciosa for some of my projects because, you know, even though we have stocked so many wonderful Swarovski colors, but we are starting to run out of certain colors, and we are replacing them with Preciosa, which a lot of people seem to like, I'm happy to say. And so here's the good news. We're not including these little ear, how do you call it? Ear knots?
Nuts. I think
nuts,
they're called
yeah.
ear nuts.
Ear nuts, yes. So we're not including these little silicone guys in every kit, nor are we listing them, because I don't think we actually have that many. However, we have enough so that if you order, actually, okay, wait, we're not stringing that bead just yet because we're about to do something different. So anyway, if you order 3 or more snowflakes, we'll just throw in a package of these little silicone earring backs. So I know some people are going to be watching the video later, and I'm just going to say, if you order within a week, we will throw in the earring backs, because, you know, at some point, of course, we're going to run out of them. And I don't want to promise, you know, make promises for any longer than a week. So any 3 designs you order, you will get one of these little packs of the earring nuts.
Kim K says those colorful crystal beads are so pretty.
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. I don't know if you're probably referring to the red and gold beads, which they're just so fun and so vibrant. Okay, guys, so the reason I always do the first 3 legs first, and then I start filling in the remaining 3, is because sometimes if you just string them all in order, by the time you get to the last one, you actually get a little bit of asymmetry, because some of these beads start to get displaced. The beads in the center, they start kind of pushing each other out, and I don't ever want to go there. So I played around with this design because, you know, with every bead you use, it's going to be just a tiny bit different. And so what I found is that on the second set of legs, I like it much better if I skip that little seed bead. So there's no seed bead on the second leg. And here, let's do a little close-up of the center. And you'll see how really, really nicely it sits just with the 3 legs having the seed bead in the center. I know it's one of those very, very small details, but you know what they say, the devil's in the details. And it really does make a difference. So, if you like the idea of using the silicone stoppers, that's great. And if you are okay just committing to a specific design, this is how I normally do it. So I will normally just take my flat nose pliers, and once I have strung my last bead, I am just going to bend the wire with my flat nose pliers. And there's just a little bit of a trick to not breaking the wire. So I'm going to share that on this next row. Just grabbing a few more beads. And so again, these are the fill-in rows, right? So we don't need that seed bead in the center. And we're just starting with the bicone. So here we go. And one more seed bead and one more barrel bead. These barrel beads are so pretty. And I'm also just going to point out that obviously there are 2 different designs, and this design has the barrel beads, and then the silver design has the cathedral beads. And when you string the cathedral beads, obviously there are more of them because they're smaller. In fact, there are 5 of them, and you're going to end up with just a little bit less room at the very end. So you're just going to make slightly smaller loops, and that's really all the difference. And okay, so let me share how I bend the wire, because sometimes we want to get really close to the bead, and then, because we don't want a lot of space in between the bead and the bend, because we do want this to sit really close to the center. So here is how I do it so that I don't break the bead. So I start bending the wire just like maybe 2 millimeters from the bead. Okay, so start bending the wire 2 millimeters from the bead. And then if you feel like you're a little too close, you can always move a little further away once you have started bending the wire. So start out at maybe 2 millimeters and then eventually move maybe another millimeter. And don't worry, it's not going to mean that we are super far away from our center, because I will show you there is a second part of this that makes everything beautiful. So now we just have 3 little barrels, and they're spaced by the beautiful 11-0 seed beads, and these are made out of metal, and they have a wonderful large opening. Okay, ladies, so now we are just going to do the same thing. We're going to bend all these wires. So I start at 2 millimeters, and then I move away slightly once I started bending, and then I just continue to bend the wire. Okay, so whether you are bending the wire right away or you're using the silicone stoppers, bending is the same. And so it's almost like it takes me 2 somewhat separate bends to actually get to almost that 90-degree angle. Okay, and last one. And people are always asking me if I use a separate set of tools for working with this memory wire. And actually, no, I use my very same tools that I normally use. These are beautiful tools. They're made in Germany. They hold up so well. And I think we might have them in the Etsy shop. Okay, ladies, so now we're going to start making the loops. And making the loops, it's just like making any other plain loop, not wrapped loop. However, there's going to be a little, not even a trick, a little tip, I guess, to this as well. So I like to just make all my loops first, and I don't worry too much about closing them completely. And I just try to grab it at the very, as you can see, at the very end of the wire, and then just, get somewhat close to closing them. But, especially on the silver snowflakes where you don't have quite as much wire at the end, don't worry about closing the loops. Even if they're only halfway closed, it is completely okay, because we are about to use our magical crimper. Don't worry, it's not a different tool. It's just a regular crimper. It's just a normal crimper that I'm sure all of you have. And let's see, I think I made all my loops. So do you see how very open that is right now? It's pretty open. And I'm not going to try to close it with my round nose, because that can be very difficult. So all you do is, you know how you have two openings in our crimping pliers. So here are my two openings. And right now, the only opening we're going to use is the one that's closest to the tip of the tool. So we're not at all using our kidney bean shaped opening. So where's the one that's, okay, so this is the one that's very, very open. Can you guys see that? So I am just going to grab it and give it a little squeeze, and look at that. It's like butter, you guys. It is so smooth. It's not difficult at all, even though this wire is actually a little hard to bend. So when you are initially making the loop, it's going to be, a little, you're just going to need a little elbow grease. But once you switch to the crimper, oh my God, it's like the easiest thing. Okay, so I even went a little too far. Let's okay, I didn't grab my chain nose pliers, so I'm just going to pull it out with my crimper. There we go. And because you have to actually really control your hand not to squeeze it too much. It's just way too easy.
Allie says, great prices in the Etsy shop. These are cute snowflakes.
Oh, thank you so much, Allie. You're awesome. Okay, guys, so what do you think? Was that like incredibly easy? This is literally one of those projects that you blink and you missed it. I kind of wish I would have grabbed some heavier wire, because sometimes when I demonstrate snowflakes, I also demonstrate how to make hangers for snowflakes, but I didn't think of that before the video. Maybe I'll do it in one of my other videos. But actually, I have multiple videos where I have done the hangers for the snowflakes. So perhaps Lauren is going to put a link to one of those videos, and you can learn how to make hooks as well. And I'm sure that at some point later in the season, this is just the beginning of the season for all of our festive projects. So at some point in the season, we'll just make some more hooks, because it's just so fun.
Bobby says, cool technique.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
And Karen says, the snowflake forms are stiff like memory wire.
Yes, they're definitely very stiff, Karen. In fact, they're actually stiffer than your bracelet memory wire. They're a bit harder to bend. So for that reason, I really recommend that you just plan on closing your loops with a crimper, and also doing it this way where you use a crimper to close the loops. You're just not as likely to crush any beads, because it's, if you're not paying attention, it can happen very easily. But with a crimper, I feel like it's just not that likely.
Allie says these are fun to make with fifth graders using plastic triangles and round pony beads. They love them and a lasting project.
Oh, yay! Thank you so much. Yes, I bet they enjoy making those.
Kim K says, I love making the snowflakes and the beaded icicles.
Yay, me too. I love all that fun, sparkly holiday stuff, and all the snowflakes and snowman, icicles. I'm sure we'll be making all of those and more this season. So fasten all your sparkly belts, because we're going to have lots of fun. So these are some of the other snowflakes from the Etsy shop, and we have them in multiple colors. Okay, ladies, so what do you think? We're actually done for today, but I still have a little preview to give you. So let me, well, first of all, tomorrow I'm going to be doing another shopping event, and this, of course, is going to be at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time on the Eclectica page. And this is going to be some really fun bling. So again, this is a Facebook Live shopping event, sparkly components, and more. Friday, November 3rd at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Eclectica page. And I'm also going to do Facets of Elegance necklace tutorial on Thursday, November 9th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my jewelry design page. And this is what Facets of Elegance looks like. And I have to tell you, I went a little crazy with all my little Facets of Elegance. And this is what it looks like, except it's actually not a bracelet, but this is a fun way to show it. So this is actually a necklace, and it's a long necklace. How long is it, you're thinking? Well, it's pretty much up to you. Up to maybe, I don't know, 40 inches or so. I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure I'll tell you next Thursday. So mine is about 36 inches, which seems to be a really good length for a very long, dramatic necklace. So I'm actually going to have quite a few different versions of this necklace. And this is kind of a back to basics project. It's, it's a stringing project. It's very easy. And yes, it is Swarovski, which is why there's so much sparkle. So I have, as I mentioned, several versions of this. Some are only Swarovski and some are Swarovski and gemstone. So I really hope you like those.
Allie says, just lovely. Can't wait to see you construct it.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. I really appreciate it. Okay, ladies, so I believe...
Joan says, thank you. Love the snowflakes and your tips.
Oh, thank you so much, Joan. I really enjoy sharing this. Sometimes, very easy projects, very simple things are so enjoyable, and they can be so elegant. It's not that, we always have to complicate things, Sometimes easy is just so satisfying. And these, of course, are going to make wonderful holiday gifts, great hostess gifts. If you're one of those people who loves to wrap their gifts in a very beautiful way, you can wrap your gift or maybe have a gift bag, and there is a fun little snowflake hanging from the gift bag. How fun would that be? One of my closest friends in the world, I give I give her an ornament or two every year, and she treasures them. So, you know, those handmade gifts are so important, and people treasure them because it's a memory. It's not just a gift that you bought. So I hope you get inspired by all my fun little sparkle friends and make some handmade gifts for your loved ones.
Kim K says, thanks so much for sharing all of this beautiful sparkle. See you tomorrow.
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. I will see you guys tomorrow. And we're going to be looking at some really fun blingy components, as well as Swarovski pearls, right? More of Swarovski pearls. You guys enjoyed my pearl video last Friday. So now we're going to explore a couple of larger sizes. And then there's a really, really fun surprise. I'll give you a little hint. It's something that was made by a really wonderful artist, and it's one of a kind, and it's going to be really, really exciting. So you'll just have to watch to see what it is. So in the meantime, thank you so much, you guys, for your comments. Thank you for watching. And as always, have a wonderful and creative evening.